Hi everyone and welcome back to Art by Felicity. Today we're going to paint gorgeous bunnies for Easter. Now I highly recommend that you do parts 1 and 2 of painting 3D shapes video first so that you'll know what to do when I refer to shapes in this video. It's very easy. So this video is recommended for ages 5 plus and also adults as well. Okay, let's get started. You will need some ink. If you don't have ink, food colouring is fine. Paintbrush, rag. Now you'll also need a palette, but if you don't have a palette, bottle lids are okay, and a dish for water. Alright girls, we're going to start by I have my year 5 and my kindergarten girls here today. We're going to start by doing our inks in shading. So this is very pale ink and it has one tiny little bit of drop of ink inside. So we'll have our test sheets here and next to our palettes we will do our ink testing onto the piece of paper that's under the palette. Okay, off you go. So let's test out this ink here and paint it onto the paper next to it.
Yeah.
Onto this paper here that's underneath. And use your brush.
Where's my pen?
Okay, so that's your medium grey. That's your black ink, is it?
Yep.
You just want to get 4 variations of colour. So you want a very pale grey, one that's a slightly darker, one that's very dark grey and one that's black ink straight from the bottle. Good. Can you try putting yours next to the colours so that you remember which one's which? And remember to wash the brush out completely in between. So when you do your very pale grey, make sure you wash it out and then dry it with the rag. Okay, now that you've done your tonal shades next to your palette colours, can you try that one there next to that one? We're going to work on breaking our bunny down into basic shapes. Now, if I slip this piece over the top here, you can see that I have broken the bunny down into 2 cones, 3 circles that are different sizes and that overlap each other, some cylinders for the bunny's paws and some other little shapes just to adjust. So I would like you to start in the centre of your page making a circle that's about, if you're a kindergarten kid, it might be your little finger width long, your little finger length long. It's about 5 centimetres for others who know about measurements. So start with a circle and we'll do the bunny's face first.
Do we do a circle, Mum?
Yep. Into the centre of your page. Now press lightly so that your pencil lines, and the circles don't have to be perfect because we're going to change the circles anyway later on. Okay, now if we look at our bunny picture, this part here where the next circle comes out, it comes out up quite high. This next circle, it starts quite high from the first circle. So it's not halfway down, it's not underneath this circle. It's up here, and we're going to draw another bigger circle underneath the first circle, coming out from the side of the first circle. This is what you're aiming for. Can you see this one? So starting over here, come over there a little bit.
I'm saying
Oh yes, you can do that too. Just make this circle a little bit higher. Well done.
Which one was I put it? There?
Yes. That looks good. And then bring this circle, this part of the circle coming around like this. So your circle should look something like this one. So this side of the circle is joining the face of the bunny a little bit lower than this side of the circle. So this side of the circle is joining the bunny a little bit lower. So just change this line a little bit.
Change what? A little bit.
So make this line come to here instead of where you have it coming to. Now the next part of the bunny, we're going to do the ears. So as you can see, if you've practiced your basic shapes already in videos creating 3D shapes, in videos part 1 and 2, you know how to draw a cone. That's what we're going to draw for the ears of the bunny. Okay, so over here, yes, that's great. Well done. Over here, we're going to draw the cones here and here. Okay, and this is this part of the bunny's ears. Okay, looking great, Molly. Now the next part of the bunny is the bunny's body. Now, if you have a look at the original picture, and then we'll go back down here, and this circle is starting up near the top of that, near the bottom of that ear. So it's near the top of the first circle, and it's near the bottom of the ear. And you draw a bigger circle for the tummy and the bottom of the bunny. And the bottom part of this circle comes around to meet the bottom part of the other circle. Yes, that's the way. And a bigger circle around here.
Hey, Mama. Looks sweet.
It might look strange, but it'll all come together and you will see. So let's have a look at this one. It comes round. So it comes round in a circle off to the side. So this is my kindergarten's drawing, and let's have a look. So she's drawn another circle underneath. So what we're going to do is do a circle starting up here near the ear where she's done that, and we're going to do the circle off to the side a bit more like this, and then it comes in and meets where the paws come out of the chest of the bunny, and this is the head of the bunny. So you can go ahead and rub that line out if you like. Let's see how year 5's going. Looking great. The next part of the bunny is to put these funny looking tilted cylinder things in for the bunny's paws. Now the bunny's paws are angled off to the side. If you have a look on here, you can see that the paws are facing away from the bunny's face. And there's 1 cylinder, 2 cylinder, 3 cylinder with rounded, so valley-shaped bottoms on them. I'll just turn this around so my little kindy kid can see this one. So make sure you point those off at an angle here, more pointing this way, that way. Yes, looking good. So these feet need to point off in this direction. Great, and I think we might just have the feet that we can see. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 feet here. And in this original artwork, we've just got 1, 2 front paws, and then the back leg, because the other back leg is actually on the other side of the bunny, and it's underneath the bunny. We can't see it. So let's have a look at that bunny. If the bunny's off to the side like this, we can only see 1, 2, 3. 3 paws. And make that back leg a little bit wider than those front ones. Good. How are you going over here? Would you like some help? So, back leg comes off in this direction. That's okay, that's fine. Those lines are fine because we're going to use those for the neck of the bunny. So, let's do a leg in this direction, a cylinder shape. Do you remember what the cylinder shape is? This one here. Okay, so let's go one line this way, and we're only going to draw the lines quite short for the bunny's legs. I'll come over and help you in a moment. Now the next part of the video is once we have done this, you can see we've got all our basic shapes. Now I want to be able to draw in this little fluffy part of the back of the leg, this part here, so it's just a rounded circle, just here. And then like a little long W, 2 little valleys in between, just where that furry part of the bunny comes underneath the bunny's tummy. So this is what we're aiming to do, these little marks here. That back leg is great that you've got here. Well done. I would make your ears a little bit wider, but other than that, I think they're a really great size. See how the ears on this bunny are just a bit wider compared to the size of the head. Yes, nice and light with the pencil so that we don't have to see those lines again after we start painting. Good. And then this leg is great, and then you just need to do 2 more paws.
No, I
front
haven't
paws.
done a leg.
Oh, I can see one here. That looks great.
Cropped it
So
out.
just finish that line from there to there. Looking great. And you've done that little furry bit. Well done. And then there's just that back part of the leg that you need to do now, which is this part here. So it's just a shape that looks like this, like that. That's great. Okay. Now we're going to work on changing those shapes a little bit to make it look more like the actual shape of the bunny. So these red lines are where I have adjusted all the black lines. I'll leave this here while I go and help my kindy. Hi. So let's draw the front paws in here. So you need 2 little cylinders over here. Okay, so let's get going here with changing. Now this is a very long S shape. It's a bit like an elongated S shape. What we're trying to do here is change that circle that we originally drew into the chest and the shape of the bunny. Yes, well done. And then there's another S shape in the center here. And that is where the hind leg of the bunny comes into the bunny's belly and then goes up towards the bunny's back. Good work. Now there's another little S shape where the tail of the bunny can just be seen at the back there, and the back of the bunny comes over into that curve. So we're going to go ahead and rub all these shapes out that we don't need. And this one here as well. And then we're going to draw in, pencil in, the eyes. Now the eyes are about halfway. If you were to draw a line halfway across your original circle that you drew in the center of your page, that's where the eyes are. And they're a little bit like leaf shapes. And they're on a slant, so they're not straight across. They're not up and down. They're in this kind of angle. They're coming in, they're pointing in like that. Yes, well done. And then the cute little love heart-shaped nose with a sideways swell coming off. Okay, So now we're going to adjust the shape of the ears a little bit. Now, my original cone here had straight lines, but our bunny's ears are actually very curved. So we're just going to turn that ear into a leaf shape. Well done. I would make it even fatter. I think those ears are quite chubby. I'd make it fatter out this way. Yes, that looks more like those bunny's ears, I think. And then the other one is just another curved backwards-ish shape this time on the side there. Just over here, backwards-ish shape. Yes, great. I think we're ready to start painting now. So we're going to lightly mark out on our bunny where our highlighting marks are going to be, or any white parts of the fur as well. So if you could take your pencil and just mark out a little shape that's like this one, just up the top of the nose. And then mark out the white around the eye. Mark out the white around the eye. Mark out the white that's in the ear. Now the reason we're marking these out is so that when we're painting, we remember to leave these parts blank. We just use the white of the paper to come through. You can mark out some of these furry bits around the chest here. And the centre, that's a bit like a leaf shape there, underneath the bunny's nose and face. And you can also mark out some of the fluffy bits around here on the chest, around here on the chest. And the parts that are close to the hind leg as well. So these parts here, where the hind leg is, which is black, but in front of the hind leg around the belly and the back of the bunny. Good work. So this is what we have so far for Year 5. I would also mark out any white parts that you can see in the fur on the feet. And also perhaps this highlight that's just here on the back of the bunny as well. So make sure you've got all these bits as well, all the ear pieces, all these bits in the feet and all these ones that are coming around that top bone of the bunny's front paw. And these little furry bits underneath here as well, underneath the bunny's nose, where the bunny's jaw is. Keep going with that, Molly. I think you've got to do the hind leg. And then you've got to do the nose and the jaw. Good work. You ready to start painting? Okay. So, when you start painting, you need to remember that you've got to have 4 shades of black. So if you haven't got 4 shades of black, mark those in. So fill those up into the palette. Use your black ink. I would start marking out the lightest parts of your bunny with your palest ink. So this is your palest ink here. Palest ink here. Darkest grey here. You'll need something in this palette in between. And this is your pure black in this one here. So that's why you mark it next to your palette so that you can remember which one is which. So you'll need some clean water and a couple of drops of black ink in that one there. So you need to make this one, just move your hand away, you need to make this one darker than this one, but not as dark as this one. And then pure black ink goes in here. This is dark grey, medium grey, light grey, and black ink. Now remember, you can use bottle tops if you haven't got a palette at home. Okay, so just test that one out. Check that you've got a medium grey. So you're aiming to get this one a little bit darker than this and a little bit lighter than this one. Put some more pure black ink in here. Just a couple of drops, because otherwise you'll end up with... You need to clean your brush off in between to make sure that you're getting a good indication. You should have a clean water, a pure clean water, and a dirty water. Okay, let's have another try of this. So we've got this one, and then we'll wash that off. Use the rag. Use the rag. Get this one. That's very pale. And then use this one. That's our dark one. Okay. So we need a few drops of the pure ink in this one to adjust it, to make it go back. I think we might do it over here. And then a little bit of water added to it. Okay. So that's your dark, medium, light, pure black ink. Okay, so you're going to use your palest ink, which is this one here, to start marking out some shadow areas of where you see the light grey parts of the bunny. So the light grey parts here and here around the ears, just inside that area, but remember not to go into the white marks that you've marked out to block off. Here along the nose of the bunny, here underneath the chest, some little feathery marks to indicate fur along here. You can also at this stage mark out your shadow as well. If we have a look at the other bunny, over there, we can see our bunny sitting over there, and we can see a shadow shape that looks something a bit like this. Okay, good work. Remember to keep referring back to the original bunny picture. So this is an observation. You have to look up at the drawing and down at your work. Up at the drawing and down at your work, to keep making sure you're getting your light grey areas in the right spots. Once you've done all your light grey marks, then you can move on to using your medium grey. And if we look closer again at the image, I can see some medium grey here. I can see some medium grey next to that light grey mark you did next to the bunny's nose. I can see some medium grey building up here where the hip bone and the back of the bunny are coming around in that curved shape. I can see a little bit of medium grey coming around here. This is the hind leg of the bunny, so coming around that part of the hind leg of the bunny towards the bunny's bottom. I can see some medium grey here underneath the crease of the paws and in the chest on this other side as well, and also in the ears too. So let's go ahead and paint that now. Is that the medium grey or is it the dark grey? So remember we had to move your medium grey over to somewhere else because we had too much water. Now the ink does lighten as it dries. Remember the use of your cloth. Looking great there. Let's have a closer look how Year 5's going. Looking gorgeous, nice and furry. I would say you could probably do some up here in the ear, where there's some along here. And around the eye as well. It's kind of like another S shape. There's lots of S shapes in this bunny. Well done. Good work. So now move on to your darkest grey. This is not your pure black ink, this is your darkest grey.
Down the line, that one.
That's pure black in there. And let's just do a tester, if you've forgotten which is which, onto your scrap sheet of paper. You need to wash your brush in between and then damp it onto the rag so that you actually get a good indication of which colour's which. So you need to have your rag, a tissue, toilet paper, piece of kitchen paper, an old sheet. So everything needs to get washed in between with completely clean water and then a testing done. Now once you've got your darkest grey, I would start moving into these areas here that are probably some of the darkest areas you'll see on the bunny. So around the ears, around this side of the face. Now remember your shadow's down here. So even though the bunny's fur is white here, this is why I've done it a little bit darker on this side of the bunny. This is the white fur, then the white fur over here, because this is your dark side of your bunny. So the darkest parts are always going to be here, even in the white fur, where the side of the nose here, that's why that indicates a shadow just there, and there's more shadow here than there is over here on the white fur. And that's why we have a highlight over here in the black fur. That's not white fur, that's a highlight in the black fur. So that it indicates a little bit of three-dimensional form. So your darkest marks are going to be around the face, above the eye, into the ears, down here in between where the fur comes together in between the two front paws. This shadow where the bunny's chest is puffing out and it meets the hind leg coming forward. Yes, that's the way. So remember, it's observation. Looking at your work and then looking up at the bunny. Looking at your work and then looking up at the bunny. We'll leave this facing the bunny picture for a little while so that you can practice your observation at home.